COVID, yeah, we were stuck there for quite a few months. I mean, I crossed the border to Romania. It was like a caravan of students walking like from almost 10 kilometers away.
What about the practical knowledge? Was it?
It was there, but unfortunately because of COVID, it was a little hampered.
Is it the toughest exam? The passing percentage is only 10%. Please don't go to Mbbs Russia. It's a big scam.
But then anyone else doubting you, we doubt ourselves.
Yeah.
As FMG, I think everyone would. The moment we step out from here to go there.
So hello guys, welcome back to another exciting video. My name is Dr. Janardan, and last two podcasts got many views and you guys are enjoying it. So we have today our new guest, Dr. Madhulika.
Hi guys, I'm Dr. Madhulika and I have completed my MBBS from Ukraine. I recently cleared my Fmge in January and I am looking forward to my internship, which will start in July. Hoping to learn new things and explore more options in medicine.
So having done your MBBS from Ukraine, did you feel any difference between Ukrainian and Indian education system? Do you have any Indian friends who have doing MBBS from
Yes.
India?
So as far as my friends who've done their MBBS from India, like mostly they've said that it's kind of similar. Of course, the subjects that we study are the same. The 19 subjects are the same. And eventually it's just based on you as a person, as a student. You know, if you are serious and you're dedicated, you will study and you know where to draw the line between your free time and when to study. And maybe a stark difference would be like the practical exposure, the clinical exposure that you get in India. You surely can't compare that to Ukraine. I mean, in personal experience.
In abroad, basically. Also,
yeah, because it's very different here. Like the amount of patients you will see, everything is very different. So that's why we also have the 1-year internship that we have to do once we come back. So I think that's important. So that's one of the major differences. But essentially,
what about the grading systems in Russia? In Ukraine. Like, do you have the same like in Russia, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Like 5 was for excellent and.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same European system that they follow.
One thing I would like to mention here, that Ukraine and Russia were the same. Like they were a part of USSR. Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. After that, it got separated. So basically, the grading system and all it's same. Even in like Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. Yes. I don't know much of it, but I think it's probably most the same. And another question, like being a girl student, how difficult was it to cope up with the Ukrainian education system? And being a girl student also, how did you choose Ukraine and went so far from family, and how did you manage? Like many of the parents who are watching this video, also the girl students who are opting for MBBS abroad, like would like to hear from you.
Okay, so after giving NEET and when you have to make a decision to choose a country, I mean, I didn't have a lot of experience in that, but then whatever options that were given to me by my consultant, amongst them Ukraine was like the right option for me. Like that's what my family and me thought. So not too much of thought into it, but yeah, Ukraine seemed to be the right choice. Yeah, of course it's difficult to first of all convince your parents that
Did your parents convince you or you convinced your parents?
I convinced my parents because this is what I wanted to do, so I had to convince them. And like, of course, they trust me and everything, and they were just like, you have to just take care of yourself. That's the most important thing. So yeah, that was essentially it.
And what problems did you face in Ukraine as a girl student? Like,
actually, as a girl student,
maybe the food or like missing your family.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I wasn't really homesick actually. Like I enjoyed my time over there. The people around were amazing. I found a great set of friends and it was fine. But yeah, of course, cooking and all, you have to work on it. And
you already learned it from India? Or
yeah, I mean, I obviously knew how to cook before, so it wasn't much of a hassle for me. But you know, managing cooking, washing the utensils, washing clothes, taking care of everything, cleaning, so everything is on you when you are living abroad. So that was a little challenging.
Everything you have to do by yourself. The F in the Fmge, I think it stands for fighter. Like you learn everything. Like you have to do your cooking, you have to do your things, like anything, like
There's no one who's
studying.
gonna do it for
No one there for you. How did you survive COVID period and the Russia-Ukraine war? This is the biggest question. Like many people ask, like, is it going safe to Ukraine or Russia? Like, can you mention some things about it?
So COVID period, yeah, we were stuck there for quite a few months, and like we couldn't come back. But I mean, you just have to like survive there, and it wasn't that difficult because we had our friends around. Like we were in the hostel, so it was fine. Like our social life was not that hindered. But of course, the war was something absolutely uncalled for, and like more than me, I think my parents had a tougher time over here, just to be like, is she going to like come back fine? Like I kind of knew I would come out of it, but for them it was very difficult. But yeah, I mean, getting evacuated.
Was your city located on the borders of Russia, like where the war started, or it was like in the like in the center?
So luckily, my university, which is Vinnytsia National, was it's closer to the western border, so it was easier for me to reach like the Romanian border like by bus. So it was like an overnight bus that we had taken to reach the Romanian border. So it was easier compared to like Kyiv and Kharkiv and other cities which were more
in the danger zone. Also, I have heard that like many students were trying to cross borders of Ukraine to reach another countries like Poland and all. Was it true?
Yes, I mean, I crossed the border to Romania. So all the neighboring countries you were supposed to cross and go there.
So you got your flight from Romania as well?
Yes.
Okay, so was it by bus or like, and who helped you to cross the border? Like
no one.
So you yourself did it?
Yeah,
Like,
it was like a caravan of students walking like from almost 10 kilometers away from the border.
Like you crossed the border by walking itself?
Yeah, we stood at the border for almost 12 hours because they were not letting us cross.
So how did we?
And it was snowing, and it was the worst, one of the worst situations I've ever come across. So.
Amazing. Like this is very like dangerous situation they were in, like the students in Ukraine, and she mentioned that she crossed the border herself, like walking 10.
Like all the students.
Yeah. And what about the baggages and all in the room? Like you left it completely.
I personally came out only with a cabin bag, and I had stuff. Obviously, we've lived there, so we have stuff worth of so many years. But we just had to come out with a cabin bag, and one hand maybe had a water can, the 6-liter water can that I was in Romania for like 4 or 5 days. So there were shelters organized for Ukrainian refugees, basically, in all the neighboring nations. So we had one, and so they took care of us.
Did you saw flying missiles over there during the war?
No.
Nothing like that?
No, I was there for 2-3 days. I think after the war broke out, till I left from Ukraine, nothing really happened in my city, luckily.
Also, I have heard that like one or few students, like they lost their life on the border.
One student that was in Kharkiv, which is like very close to Russia.
Why did you choose Ukraine? Like there was Russia also. No, why Ukraine? But did some consultant post you in it, or like you research?
Maybe I also did research, and I felt like the universities in Ukraine, which they offered, like this was like my university is like 100-year-old university, so that just made me lean towards. So,
and what about the practical knowledge? Was it?
It was there, but unfortunately because of COVID, it was a little hampered, like the practical clinical exposure part. But then in the last year that I was there, we had our classes in hospitals, and we were taken to all rheumat departments and hematology, all the departments. So it was pretty cohesive.
I will ask one thing, that in Ukraine, do you guys do 1 year complete internship, or like there are only clinical rotations like in Russia? Like in Russia, we don't do a 1 year internship. There are clinical rotations like from 4th year. It's same in Ukraine or like different?
Yeah, it's like clinical rotations, essentially. Like the subject is for 2-3 weeks, and you're supposed to go to that hospital.
I had any Ukrainian friends, like how are Ukrainian people?
Okay, so like after we go in the first year and stuff, essentially we don't speak to Ukrainians as much because of the language barrier.
Because they also think that you are Indians, that you don't speak Ukrainian, and Ukrainian and Russian are almost the same.
Yeah, exactly. So there was always a language barrier. but like when we go to the grocery stores and stuff, like sometimes there are young Ukrainians who are learning English, so they always like try to practice their English, so they would just come up to us and try to speak in English. They were literally so warm and kind, and they were so like inspired by Indian culture. They wanted to know more about like Krishna and all. Like actually I was like very surprised.
There are many ISKCON temples in Ukraine, even in Russia. They follow it so seriously. Even they basically have changed their names, Russian names to Indian names. Like I know few guys. I went to ISKCON many times in Smolensk and also in Moscow. So like one guy, he had his Russian name Artyom, but his Indian name was like Eknath Prabhu and Jagannath. Like these were the names. Yeah, they get it once they become the devotees, I guess, and they follow it more seriously than Indian people.
That's very true.
When you were going to Ukraine, like, did you had in mind that after doing MBBS from Ukraine, you have to pass an exam which is Fmge, which is equivalent to NEET PG or NEET UG. So did you had it in mind? Because before going to Russia, I did a lot of research about the Fmge exam, and on Quora I got many answers that this is the toughest exam. The passing percentage is only 10%. Please don't go to MBBS Russia. It's a big scam. If you better than MBBS Russia, you do a watchman duty anywhere. Even my friend told me before going to Russia, if you want to go there, do a watchman duty. Better than going to Russia, do this. So what was your like views on it, the Fmge exam? How difficult is it? Like what would you say?
So it was of course a very big decision to opt for MBBS abroad. I think everyone will agree with that. And even at that time, it was MCI was the exam that we were aware of. So I think the moment we step out from here to go there, it's like a pressure. That pressure it just keeps building through the years. Although you will not be studying in that direction, but that pressure is always there. And you have to until you pass this exam, it's always going to be there. Like until you see the pass on your result thing, that pressure is going to be there. Even if you acknowledge it or no, it's always going to be there. And I think all FMGs will agree with that. So yeah, I did consider that that's a major thing, that you have to come back, and to be called a doctor in India, you have to pass that exam. So it's enormous pressure. So
the basically I did was before going to Russia, I kept in mind that I have to pass this exam. Many negative points I got from my friends, also from my teachers, it's the toughest exam, you can't clear it. If you can't clear NEET UG, you can't clear Fmge exam. I got to know about it, and after that I connected with many doctors from Russia who have done their MBBS from Russia and who are currently working in India. So I got to know that they have also cleared their Fmge exam either in first attempt or in second attempt. So I thought that if they can clear it, why can't I? So that was the major motivation for me. And right from the first day, I was like, I haven't cleared NEET UG. So it was a big turn off for me. So I was constantly putting my efforts every day. There was not a single day of me not studying anything. I used to study something or anything. Every day, there was some progress. So if you are going to Russia or abroad, I would recommend to you guys that if you are not performing well in NEET UG, there's a second option, which is MBBS abroad, and it's basically good if you are willing to do self-study. How was your Fmge reaction? Who checked the results? I remember I was sitting with one of my friends, and I got a call that you have scored 182. Congratulations. I was confused. What about you? How did you saw your results?
I mean, we got a message on WhatsApp, and I think there were a lot of fake PDFs that came out
during my
and then you don't know if you have to believe it, but then you still will open each PDF and be like, maybe this is the actual one. So then I just I literally went aside I literally went to the washroom and I was like, okay, first let me check my, with the roll number and everything. And I was like, okay, I see pass and I see 212, and I was just like, oh my god, did I actually?
You checked it 50 or 100 times.
Yeah, I checked it like twice. Then I came out of the washroom and I went to my father. I'm like, oh dad, the result is out. And then we just kept checking. He checked it on his laptop again. I checked it on my phone like 10 times later. And it was just...
And what was their reactions, your parents' reactions?
We were like elated. I mean, especially for this exam, like after coming out of the exam, everyone was like, it was almost NEET PG level ka exam and all.
Yeah.
I trust my preparation. I gave my 200%, but still the paper, it felt very like difficult. Like, some questions were like, where did this come from? Like, so just after the exam, I was like, I don't know what happened. But then after the result, I could say ki, okay, it's actually worked. Like all the hard work and everything has paid off with, like a good score. But yeah, super excited and happy. And then calling my brother, the first person, like he's in Manchester. So I had to tell him and all my other relatives and friends.
Are you first generation doctor? Like, even from
yeah,
your family?
The first in my family.
Nice, interesting. Also me, I'm a first generation doctor. Like, it was like a moment of a lifetime. Like,
absolutely.
Tears in their eyes, and like it was a big...
It's like 6 years ka pura mehnat and
like
the pressure.
No one believed in you. Like after NEET UG, like even they doubted me. Like if I will be performing good in NEET Fmge. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, everyone
and more than anyone else doubting you, we doubt ourselves.
Yeah.
As Fmge, I think everyone would agree with that. We're just like, there's always this little I couldn't do that, and this is my time to like prove it.
So how did you start your preparation for Fmge? Like, what was it?
So this is going to sound very unconventional, but I did not buy any app until I came back to India.
Okay.
So basically in university, I basically concentrated more on just studying what has been taught.
So from where did you study? From books?
Yeah, from whatever their material, and of course there's an ocean of videos on YouTube.
So like, you are the first person who I'm coming across, like who haven't bought any app, just studying from books, and also managed to get Fmge over the line in the first attempt. Also score a good mark, like 2-1 good, like a good score. Like, yeah, please continue.
Yeah, so I think mostly it was like peer pressure, like everyone, practically everyone I knew had like Marrow, prep, something on
without
the other.
It's impossible, like.
Exactly, so it's peer pressure, but I didn't let that get to me, and I was like, I'll just study at my own pace. So I just made sure I grasped concepts while studying in Ukraine, like in their system, whatever they were teaching in their way. So that's all I did till I came back to India. Then I think eventually peer pressure does come in, and you're like, okay, I need to take an app now. So that's when I chose Cerebellum. Like there are tons of options, of course.
During your last 6 months, you chose Cerebellum.
Yeah. When I came back from Ukraine after my degree, so then I opted for Cerebellum because it kind of aligned with my study style. It was not extremely intense and not very chill. Like I feel like there are some apps which are like they have live classes for 12 hours straight. So I was like, that's something I can't do. But Cerebellum was more, it was giving us time to do self-study and all. So that's why I chose Cerebellum. And yeah.
Okay. And one thing I would like to mention that people like who are studying in abroad, like I get questions like, Bhaiya, which app I can buy now? So the first year students, second year students, and as Dr. Madhulika mentioned, she haven't touched any app till her 6th year. After she completed 6th year, she bought a Cerebellum. So basically, the main thing is you have to clear the concepts. The concepts can be cleared by YouTube videos. Like I keep recommending people who ask me like you can regularly study from YouTube. Even I didn't buy any app till 4th year. From 4th year, like I was like many seniors of me suggested me you can go for Marrow and start preparing for Fmge. So from 4th year I used to study Marrow, but till 3rd year I used to study books and from the YouTube videos. Like there are YouTube videos, like it will help you a lot. You have to just clear your concept like reading books. But I think most of the people like they are forgetting books. They don't even buy books nowadays. They just go for Marrow prep because many education consultants, they are forcing them to buy these apps because it's their profit to get them students buying apps and they will earn much revenue from it. So I will recommend that read books from first year till third year, and from fourth year you will be studying marrow or prep, because from fourth year you will be getting much of time.
So describe your normal day in Ukraine, like how you used to plan studies or anything like that.
Yeah, so mostly it was around. Mostly it was around the normal schedule that we had in university. So sometimes it would be like really far away, some classes, so we had to prepare like an hour before to go there. And yeah, essentially I would study for like 4 or 5 hours
Every day.
per day.
Nice.
Like for the next class, like we had to study for the next class. So yeah, mostly it was that, and also everyday chores like cooking and cleaning and all. That's a major part of the
typical life
yeah.
of an FMG. And asking about you about your grant test scores. From when did you started giving your grant test? After your completing your degree or?
4 months before the exam,
Okay.
like giving seriously, giving GT
GPS signal lost.
Giving GT seriously. So I have mostly scored above 150. It's never been below that. But I felt like if you consistently keep studying, like as you cover more subject, as you work harder, it just keeps increasing. And by the last GT score of mine was like 225.
Okay.
So that was very comparable to.
Then
my
some
score.
tips you would like to give the students, like to successfully increase their GT scores. Like one hack for me was like that. If you give a GT, just try to review every single question of it. Even it takes 2 or 3 days or a week. Just go through every question, and this will help you out to gain much of knowledge. And being a marrow user, like the GTs which I used to give, the explanation below the questions was so good. Like if I even didn't read the book, like it was like okay for me to just go to the questions. Like how was for it?
Yeah. So yes, I feel the same. Like reviewing the GT, it's a very difficult thing. It's very challenging, and time consuming.
Yeah.
But it's very important. Like more than even giving the GT, like you learn more from like reviewing, and that's the beauty of MCQs.
Yes.
Like which is a very important part of the preparation is giving your MCQs. Like when you see the same information as a paragraph and when you see it as an MCQ. It's so different. Like you will remember it for way longer when you see that as an MCQ, because it challenges your brain and like as an MCQ. So that was mostly it. And GTs, you have to just keep studying. As you keep giving GTs, you realize what are the important things, because GTs are designed in a way where topics which are important for the exam are added basically. So it helps you concentrate on more important topics.
Okay.
So yeah.
As Dr. Madhulika mentioned that she used to give GTs, like she started giving GTs 4 months before exam. And I would like to ask you one thing, that from when did you started practicing MCQs for the exams, like the modules I'm saying that?
Right from the beginning, like 6 months when I started like intense preparation for the exam, I used to try and give like MCQs every day. But I think towards the end, I did like almost 150 to 200 MCQs per day. Like 50 I would give like just like after the waking up, then 50 like 100 after lunch, and then another 50.
And you also have to review on the same day, right?
Yeah. Like those 50, after I give it only, I will review those. I mean, it's difficult but towards the end, I became really good at it, and it was more fun then.
So one thing I have to mention here, that the key to pass Fmge exam is only MCQs, like practice MCQs, also review it every day. So that's the success to your Fmge exam. Nothing much of rocket science here. Your typical day during your Fmge exam preparation, how you used to plan?
Okay, so typically like around 3 months before the exam, I try to wake up at 6 in the morning, so that I make like my body clock is accustomed to that timing of the exam. That's very important actually, like because you have to be mentally active during the exam time, and since this exam is so like it's a very long exam and it's challenging, so you have to maintain your body clock in that way where you're active during that exam time. So that was one thing that I did. So I would wake up at 6, solve 50 MCQs, and go on with whatever studying basically it was only studying for most part of the day, and yeah.
Any other things you would do? Like I used to go to the gym and all. And what about you? Like any other things you would?
I couldn't even think about doing anything else. Like
Rather
it
than
was so
studying.
stressful. Yeah, it was like if I think about anything else also, I would be so stressed out. Ki, oh my god, I'm missing out on time to study. Like for me, it's not the most ideal thing.
Okay.
Like, but I couldn't do.
But don't you
anything
think like
else.
these other things are necessary to keep you going?
Absolutely, it is. But then I was too stressed to think or do anything beyond studying. Like it's not the best advice.
Like the case, it was the reverse in my case. Like if I'm studying for particular 4-5 hours, like if I go to the gym and if I come back and I would put more 4-5 hours in my studies. Like it was like a motivation for me. Like by going to the gym, you release endorphins. So by doing it, like I was like much more concentrated on my work. Like if I don't go do other things, just studying, it would like rather cook my brain, and I would be able to pass the exam. I think so. The gym was like a motivation for me. Like during my exams, it will be other things for different people, like watching movies, going out with people, and all. As Dr. Madhulika mentioned, like she didn't had any things to do. So
I couldn't think of doing anything else.
So it's just a normal thing. It's based on different preferences of different people. So by doing cerebellum, was there a point like you would just see a question and mark the answer? Like दिमाग में fit हो गया था question ऐसा.
A lot of times, and that's actually not a good thing, because towards the end when you give some GTs and you think that okay, I've already seen this question, you just mark it and it actually turns out wrong, and then you're like okay, that hits you. It really hits you, and then you're like okay, from now I have to like read and not already assume what the question is. So
for this like my tip was like if I was doing solely preparing for Marrow, so I would used to give GTs grand test from different apps like Cerebellum हो गया, Prepladder हो गया. So the language there was different. So if I'm scoring 180 in Marrow, I would score 160, 150 in Prepladder. So that was a setback for me. Like अरे मैंने इतना पढ़ा था, कम कैसे? How would I score less? Like that was again a motivation for me to study much more. Like so, if you are preparing for FMGE, use different apps like for giving your grand test, so it will eventually improve your scores. Like if you study from the same app, like you get used to the language and it will be difficult for you. After giving my first part of FMGE, like I was in trauma, like pass hoga ki nahi exam. Like I was sitting there like this, like I was saying bhai fail ho gaya bhai. And after giving the second part, I was like yeah, why not? Pass ho sakte hain bhai. But not, it was like 50-50. What about you?
it was actually the same, because the first part of our exam was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
People were literally crying as they came out. I think some people did not even attempt the second part because the first part was that. No, I've actually heard this from some of my friends. They were like, they left. I just tried to keep myself calm and composed, and I'm like, okay, I'll just see Mbbs Guidance and all these things, and like in the middle, in between, like in the break time, that's what I did. And then after the second paper, everyone was happy and like, you know, it was much easier and doable.
So many people, like they directly come from Ukraine or Russia or any other country, they directly go to Gautam Nagar, which is a study hub for FMGs to start their preparation there. So what do you think about this place? Like, why didn't you go there? Or why did you choose home over Delhi?
Okay, so mostly I heard a lot of people who went to Gautam Nagar to study. A lot of my friends did, but I did not even consider it as an option because of the living conditions there. I've heard it's not the best, even like, and also like the responsibility of taking care of your food and everything else, it's kind of a hindrance in your preparation. Like you could instead put that time into studying. So I think staying at home was one of the best decisions, and of course your parents like supporting you throughout and all, it's very important. So I think staying at home.
So did you had any FOMO of your friends studying in Delhi and you studying at home? Like I got that FOMO because like I was thinking that they are much ahead of me and I'm doing my time pass in my home. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean the FOMO obviously creeps in, but then I think, and also over there I think people flexible, you're so free, like there's no one on your head like to tell you ki study now, so then people try to waver away from this. It like depends on your company over there. Like if you don't have good company, you could maybe go in the wrong direction. But I think staying at home was the best option.
Yeah. Also, I would like to mention that Gautam Nagar, according to me, it's not the safe place to study. Not in kind of like safety others. Like I'm saying in terms of food. Like one of my friend, he got hepatitis A and he was admitted for 2 weeks in hospital. So think about it and then choose Gautam Nagar. ऐसा नहीं कि गौतम नगर इज नॉट द बेस्ट प्लेस. वहाँ से मतलब काफ़ी टॉपर्स निकलते हैं. मेनी स्टूडेंट्स क्रैक द FMG एग्जाम विद गुड मार्क्स एंड ऑल्सो नीड PG. सो देर आर द बेस्ट टीचर्स इन गौतम नगर अवेलेबल. सो इट्स अप टू यू. वी गेव आर लाइक रिव्यूज अबाउट इट. So next question are like 6 months enough for FMG? Like if students study for 6 months, like after that degree there are 6 months for you. Like is it enough?
Intense preparation of the exam, yes, that's 6 months, but then you can't start seeing those subjects for the first time in those 6 months. Like you should have studied in
at least once. You've gone at least once.
Like in those 6 years when you are studying abroad, you should have gone through those subjects, so that those 6 months you're just kind of revising and studying based on FMG, like primarily like specific topics that are studied like for the exam. So you have to study from
beginning.
Before. Yeah, it's not that only 6 months you're going to open the book there and then. And
because I have seen many people that they say that we studied just 6 months and we graduated as an FMG. It's not like that. They studied the 6 months. It was their best efforts.
Yeah.
And they already were studying in Russia or Ukraine, wherever they were. Like they at least went once.
You have to build a foundation.
Yeah, foundation on that subject. So the answer, you basically have got your answer. Like 6 months are not enough to study for FMG, and you have to study at least something to get through the line for the exam. So because the exam is like it's getting a bit tougher and tougher. Like it's an evolving beast, I guess. Like it's getting like closer to need PG. So you have to clear your concepts, and I think this exam will be replaced by next, I guess. But I don't know whether NMC is doing anything about it. Your weaker subjects during the FMG, and how did you manage it?
Okay, so my weak subjects were mostly the subjects which required rote learning, like anatomy, biochemistry, microbiology, where you just have to
mug up things
and just keep the information.
Yeah.
So for those subjects, actually a friend of mine, like we used to discuss these subjects, and it was actually a game changer. We actually remembered a lot of stuff because we discussed it actively.
Yeah.
So I think I would recommend that. That's a good way of studying these subjects.
What were the subjects? Can you name some?
Anatomy, biochemistry, pharmacology. Thought subjects are very scoring. So if you do them well, they're not time consuming, and if you just put in a little effort, you can really score well in all of them.
And also I would like to mention that don't run away from this difficult subjects. That subjects you find difficult. At least try to do some MCQs. Like in Marrow we have this thing called custom module. Same in Cerebellum, I think. Do you have it?
Yeah.
So custom module is a thing that you can do MCQs based on particular subject, particular topic. So I used to do 50 questions for that. For example, I am weak in biochemistry. I used to do a custom module for biochemistry, 50 questions. So I used to do it 50, and again I have to review it. And if I give the GT after it, I used to try to do that question right in my next GT, and also try to not do it wrong if the same question repeats. Again. And as Dr. Madhulika mentioned, she used to discuss it with her friends. This is the way she used to remember. And discussing is a major thing. Like if someone is saying and you are also like interpreting something, like you try to remember things much better.
Like you can't say you're a doctor, like because you can't call yourself a doctor until you pass this exam. So I think that was something that like the fact that I couldn't say that I'm a doctor, like that motivated me to study for the exam. Like it's that important to me to clear this exam. So that was a motivation that kept me going. And of course my parents and my brother, they kept me going through the late nights and the early mornings. Not actually, it wasn't even that. It was more like we were always looking out for each other and just helping each other mostly. Like, you know, if I found some new information about something like which would be important for the exam, we would keep sharing it, and it was literally supporting each other more than, you know, jealousy. Like, jealousy was never.
You should have one or two friends, not much friends, like one or two friends who are your best friends and who don't have a negative impact on your preparation. I would say rather say that, because many people during a preparation, like, they panic a lot, and that negative impact is gets on you.
The whole, and or if it's an IBQ, like an image-based question, you will see the image first, so you have an idea, like a brief idea about what they are going to ask. And as we know that the exam pattern is going more towards clinical, like much longer. It's not possible to read every word in the question. So I think picking up key points, like keywords, question is very important, and it helps you, like, it saves you time and you get to the answer faster, which is important.
Yeah.
Like,
well said. And about me, it was like I would straight go to the last line. I would read it, and after that I would go to the options, and after that I would go to the first line and grasp the important words, or like important like values. Think as a doctor rather than a student. Like, if I am a doctor, what would I do in this condition? So it helped me a lot to get my improve my scores in GT. If you think as a doctor, then you will be doing MCQs. And after doing my internship, what I'm learning there, like what I'm applying there, I am the same things I am applying in my MCQs. So it is much easier for me to solve the MCQs now, because everything, for example, if I see a sonography or CT scan, what agents are used in it, same agents you are getting in the MCQs.
Classes and stuff. It at least gives you a basic skeleton of how many days to give to a subject, because we are so stressed out at that time, we don't realize, like, you know, how many days to give to each subject. So that just helped form like a timetable, and you have to finish all the subjects in a week. Like, the last revision was like almost in a week they finished all the subjects. So maybe even if I'm not going and watching their videos, I'm at least, you know, following the timetable.
Okay.
You know, you have to do this anatomy only in like 5 hours.
Yeah.
So that much also. So that just adds a lot of pressure. So yeah, basically just watching some reviews, revising your notes, like a 20th notebook. So main things that you...
Yeah, what is the 20th notebook? I haven't made it at any time.
Okay.
You can explain.
Yeah, so the 20th notebook for me personally was things that are volatile for me. So everyone should make their own 20th notebook, which is based on all the facts that are volatile for you. So something might be volatile for me and not for you. So you have to make it on your own.
Writing in that book?
Yeah, like you can make it like different subjects have like certain number of pages, like 10 pages of each subject.
Yeah.
And it should be basically the main important volatile topics. That's all.
So 20th notebook is a thing that the subjects you forget, like the topics you tend to forget, like it may be biochemistry, surgery, or pharmacology.
But I'm also looking at giving AMC for Australia. That's the exam for Australia. So maybe I would opt for that as well. So I'm deciding which one. But yeah, mostly it should be mostly it's medicine. I'm more towards the medicine side. So maybe fine because that's like I feel like it's a good combination of medicine and surgery. Like it exposes you to, although it's extremely tedious, I've heard. But I feel like
Last question. Would you recommend MBBS for students who want to study abroad if they are not getting a seat in India? Like, what do you think? Abroad, I mean, not Russia, Ukraine. I'm saying basically abroad.
You can opt. It's a good option. Like if only and only if you are extremely passionate about it. Like you are ready to dedicate 6 years of your life. Firstly, to go abroad and then also to come back and study for FMG. It's not an easy journey. It's a very tough journey. So if you are prepared and you're ready to do that, then it's a good option. Or then you can not choose it, but you have to be prepared for it.
MBBS study. Yeah. It's about 1 year of FMG and 1 year of internship. So basically, it's 7.5 and 8 years almost.
Yes.
By the end of time you complete your internship. And if you're 18, by time you're in 12th, and by time if you complete MBBS abroad, you will be 24 or 23. You're 24. Okay? And after that 1 year, you have to go complete internship after FMG. That too, if you do everything in first attempt.
Yes.
Okay? And you will be 25 if you do everything in first attempt. Okay? 24 or 25. So keep in mind your age. For people, age comes in like life there. So keep in mind about your age. So choose MBBS abroad according to your preferences. It's not like that MBBS abroad is the only option. You have different options like being a paramedic, like physiotherapist, and maybe you can just go for dental, BAMS, BHMS, and there are many other options. So MBBS abroad is a good option, but it's up to you. We will recommend you, but it's up to you. So thank you, Dr. Madhulika, for giving me some time.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope it is helpful for students who are choosing to go abroad to study, and they get a perspective about preparing for FMG.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.